So we want to know what poverty is for a single female, 22 years old. So we can put some numbers. We could say less than 10,000 a year, 10 to 15, 16, 15.1 to 20, 20.1 to 25.
And this is with no dependents, right?
This is no dependents. What do you think the poverty line is for y'all? Is it 22? I mean, see what y'all's guess is. What y'all think? Y'all's modal responses are right on the cheap end. I'll show y'all what y'all have. Oh, you are wishful thinking if you think it's a $25,000 range, my friend. The government quite disagrees with you. So, all right, we're going to look at this. Here's how the poverty line was developed by this woman here, Molly Orslansky, right here. I don't know how you say her name. She's never said it to me, and I pronounce words weird in my head all the time. I don't know if y'all do that too. You seem like someone who would do that too, because you read a lot. And when you read a lot,
Only foreign.
I do it with every word. I'm like I was once talking to one of our friends, and I'm like, man, that is heinous. And he's like, what? I'm like, disgusting, gross. He goes, heinous? And I was like, makes a lot more sense than hideous. That's just one example that comes to mind. What?
Like people's names in books.
Yes.
Like Wicked, for example. Like until I saw the musical, I was like, oh, I totally mispronounced their name.
Yeah, because no one's telling you how to say it. So we'll just call her Molly and hope for the best. All right, she helped define the official poverty line. It's what she did was use the consumer price index. So this is sort of giving you an average basket of goods, like bread, butter, that kind of thing. Age and the number of people in your family. And these were developed in the 60s based on food expenditure. Now this is sort of the key issue here. The poverty line that we use, and so whenever you see that 1 in 8 people live under the poverty line, it's worth knowing how this was defined. It was food expenditures by families under economic stress. All right, I'm under economic stress. Am I going to Chili's for dinner? No. Am I going to Golden Corral? That's a tough one. It's all you can eat, so it's tough to know, right? But so Golden Corral's probably out too, right? What? Maybe. Yeah, McDonald's is pretty expensive too. Yes, but you're thinking economic stress. You're thinking, okay, we're not getting Happy Meals. You can get a toy. We're looking for most food for our budget. So she was really looking at dried rice, dried beans. Yeah, this is what looking at not Jif peanut butter. We're looking at some off-brand. It's like Jif, and you're like, I don't even know. Hey, would you like some Jif peanut butter? I don't know off-brands of peanut butter, people. Yeah, I mean, Great Value, but Great Value is a brand, so, but then you're looking up to Great Value is all I'm saying here. You're like, I wish I could afford Great Value peanut butter. Yeah, you're in economic stress. But you can't even afford peanut butter. Peanut butter's too good for you. You have to get peanuts, grind those things, make your own, right? So you have to sort of get a flavor. So this is basic food, no eating out. We may throw in once a month eating out to, if you want to make these numbers more realistic. But this is, you are poor. She also assumed that food was 1/3 of your expenditures. So the way the poverty line was developed in this country was families in economic stress picking the cheapest. So are you eating vegetables in this situation? No, you're not eating vegetables. Vegetables are too good for you. Did you ever see like when congressmen, they were doing some exposés and like, we're gonna try to live on what food stamps people get. And they go in there and they buy a load, they try and buy lettuce and they're like, yeah, you can't, ixnay on the lettuce, I feel guilty because I now buy the pre-washed lettuce and I think to myself, have I come to this point in my life that I am too lazy to cut up lettuce? Then I'm like, make speed salad, so I might give it as a sauce. See, that's what happens though. I used to happily cut up romaine lettuce and then put it in paper to save it. Now I'm like buying bags of lettuce pre-washed because I'm too lazy. That's what happens to you. Upward creep of desire.
Still do.
You're already doing it.
Still buy the bags.
You're horrible. Where are you going to go now? You're already...
This is a downgrade for me.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So here is the U.S. poverty line. It's a couple years old, but it hasn't changed that much. You can get an idea. So we had single person, under 65 years of age, no dependents, poverty, less than $12,000 a year. So barely in this number right here. Certainly not in this number. Certainly not in this number. Definitely not in this number. 12,000. That's not that much
I
money.
thought you said poverty line. What would the poverty line for you be? That's what I.
No, I was thinking. I said like what's my like 20 average 22-year-old.
Average.
Well, this is what the government defines it as. So they're saying you are not, if you make $14,000 a year and it's just you, guess what? You're not in poverty.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, you may be poor.
I mean, how are we living? Like, are we living in a nice neighborhood? Are we living?
Look, you guess where you're living.
That's,
You're my neighbor, basically, is what this boils down to. That's horrible.
I would feel pretty safe though. It's like, hey, this is right next door.
He's up here like it's a horrible neighborhood.
I mean, if you have to say like you're living next to me, that's
No, I don't live in a poor neighborhood. I was just trying to go. You're not. I mean, my house is not opulent. It's a nice house. Single guy lives there by me and my cat. It's not a horrible neighborhood, and you're probably not even affording my neighborhood. You're living you may have a 1-bedroom, maybe 2 for you.
Do I have a house or apartment?
Probably an apartment. 'Cause you got to put a down payment for a house. Where are you gonna get this money from?
Easy money.
Actually, it's worth reading about the terms on those easy money deals. I mean, you end up paying.
Oh, they really take advantage.
They really take advantage.
I'm surprised they don't send leg breakers. So that's
But but some people really need that, and they just constantly just.
And they constantly redo their.
Redo
Interestingly, there's a book that I may have assigned reading for this class that has like 2 pages on it at the end of a chapter on the easy money payday financing. Yeah, it's in your day.
Like monthly payment, let's say like a house is like $2,000.
Well, you think a monthly mortgage for a house is $2,000?
I've heard somebody where it's
That's true. Some people pay that. I do not.
yeah, 2,000 or like if the house is about like 300,000 or something like
Yeah.
that. And I heard where you pay mostly interest and the house price you pay only about like less than 500.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
like every year you get a statement going. This is how much actually went to your principal,
Yeah.
and this is how much interest you.
It's
It
a
is
racket, man.
Well, then you get to write off your interest payments on your taxes, and so the remember we talked about ways in which the tax code in countries is set up to encourage some behaviors. That's one of the things that we encourage home buying is we let you write off your mortgage.
But isn't the all the banks like them falling? Isn't it because people can't pay off their mortgage and banks are loaning
Yeah,
it?
they were loaning money to people who they knew were going to fail, and then selling bad mortgages to other people.
But they can't still like. There's so many like houses on the market that the bank has the houses but no money. So isn't that why they're like?
That is one of
They
the
got
problems
bailed
of
out.
the house. That's one of the problems with the housing bubble that happened in the late 2008. I mean, that movie? I'm trying to remember. I recommended it, but I'm drawing a blank on its name, so I'm trying to remember. dark tunnel than Jones's.
Dark days.
Seriously? Like, I'll get dark and then it'll bring up dark night and dark. I don't want that. You know, just look up tunnel people. Okay? That's how it's stored.
Like, you know, did you go to dark?
So here we go. So you know what you're. So when we say that 1 in 8 people are in poverty, we mean these numbers. We don't mean if you think it would take you $20,000. We mean you're not in poverty until you're meeting these numbers right here.
So, with that being said, then if 1 in 8 people are in poverty,
That's by these numbers.
by these numbers, there's still more people.
They're very, very, very,
So
very,
what
very,
is it
very
again
poor.
for a single 22 young female?
Like, what's under 65 is this number here. It's probably a little higher because this is from 2009, but it's not going to be like $30,000.
I heard it was $12,000.
12,000 sounds very reasonable. But 12,000, this is you have to pay, that's pre-tax income. So this is you have to, now you gotta get an apartment. Now you have to get food. Now you have to get clothing. Now you have to get, all.
Call your parents.
Transportation.
Yeah. So, just give you some data on where the U.S. stands and some measures. We're not doing very well. A lot of poverty in our country. So the U.S. second in most children in poverty. Just giving you some other data. So poverty is not evenly distributed throughout the country. That's already off there. So you can look at the states with the highest. No surprise, Mississippi makes the list. People living below poverty. It's like whenever you read a list and it's like Mississippi. Here's another one. This is sort of an odd one to read. This is how many hours at minimum wage you would have to work to afford rent in a 2-bedroom unit at a fair market rate. In Alabama, you would have to work, I believe it's 69 hours? Yeah, 69 hours a week. You know,
What is minimum wage right
That's
$7.25? I mean, the problem with minimum wage, it is well known, and we're going to discuss minimum wage because that's where people go, let's just raise the minimum wage. Well, it's good for the people who have a job, but there's fewer jobs.
Right.
So it actually ends up hurting the very people it's supposed to help because they get put out of a job. But if you have one, you're doing better, but then all the prices rise to meet the fact that wages have gone up. So it's a well-known problem in economics. Give you some other data here. This is 2-bedroom housing wage. So the hourly wage that a householder must earn in order to afford, you would have to make at least, this is I think $14.50 in Alabama? No, $12.50 an hour, working 40 hours a week to afford a 2-bedroom at a fair market rate.
And that's just not part.
Yeah,
not including everything else.
not including nothing else. And $12.50 is obviously well above.
Well, they're saying that it's only 30% of the income.
Yeah, at
So
30.
yeah.
But 30% of your income being spent just on housing is a lot.
No, but it's not like that's all of your income. That's not like the question.
Oh yeah, no, it's not all your income, but it's to where you could spend 30% on it. That's still a lot.
That's a lot.
I mean, 'cause
I
you
thought
gotta-
it was more, you're not supposed to spend more than 25% of your
Yeah, I
income
mean,
on housing.
I thought it was saying-
That's what they say anyway.
This is a 2-person, can it be like 2 people, like husband and wife?
Yeah, you could, obviously then help out. Or you could obviously, that would obviously help out to have more than one person contributing to this. But it's, what is it, like 40% of people in America are single? It's like I think that's the number. So you gotta think they're living and affording, and this data is very relevant to them. I think I have one final chart for you. Apparently, I don't have one final chart for you. We're gonna continue looking at income disparity on Friday. See y'all then.